Let's get busy.
Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to another action-packed card of All-Star Wrestling.
Yo, what up, man? What up? What it is? I know y'all not used to seeing this combination of Negroes, you know what I'm saying? But we like a super team. This is the Black Podcast and Avengers. You know what I mean? We'll figure out who's who and what's what in a bit. But the delegation, you know what I'm saying, is a team of Black podcasters coming together and giving y'all, you know what I mean, different flavors of content that we usually give. I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves, man.
I'm Stat Guy Greg from the Cheap Heat Podcast. I don't even know who I'm not the Tony Stark. I'm not the Spider-Man. We'll figure out who's who, like you said, by the end of the show. But we are part of the Avengers, the Delegation. You know, y'all know me, man. Cheap Heat Podcast at Stat Guy Greg on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes, sir. It's Codie Dre, 1/3 of the Black Announce Table Podcast. And once again, I wouldn't know who I would be in the Avengers as well. I'm not big on the Avengers or anything like that. So you know, I'm so out of the loop. So I would have no clue. You guys would have to school me on that.
Spider-Man's from Queens. That's all I got.
And fuck it, it works. It works.
Hey man, IlFam79 on your social media choice, aka Cactus Jack, the Hennessy volunteer. 1/3 of the Black Rasslin Podcast, 1/4 for Atwood's Buffy. Today we're talking about hot takes, man. What would y'all say is a hot take? Like, we're not going by Webster's because you know what I mean. Webster was designed by the whites, so we're gonna go with whatever the delegation meet, gotta come to Jesus about what the delegation definition of a hot take is.
I think it's when you drop an opinion that's so left field that it's people haven't thought about it really yet. They haven't given it too much deliberation, but B, it's also like immediately polarizing. Like, you drop it and it immediately causes a debate. It's something that hasn't been heard. Like, if it's one of those things like, was the Attitude Era overrated? That's becoming like a lukewarm take. It's like or something like that. You know, who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Does this person not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? You know, depending on who it is, you get a lukewarm take out of that. But a hot take is like something just so left and so polarizing that you got to discuss it.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. And like, I was writing down some of my hot takes and stuff, and like, I don't really feel like my hot takes is really that hot, you know, and they not feeling as hot, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm glad you broke that down, because a couple of mine, I don't really, but to other people, they may seem like, oh, he's bugging out, or this is crazy, right? But to me, it's just like, I think this is what, I just call what I see, you know what I'm saying? So
niggas that say I just call it how I see it are normal bastions of hot takes. Niggas, because niggas will say something and drop it, you know what I mean? Drop it in the chat and just be like, hey, I just call it how I see it.
You think so?
I feel like, yeah, I think hot takes are normally something contrary to the groupthink, and something that kind of get people talking. I don't think it necessarily has to always shake the room, but I do think it definitely needs to be kind of conversation worthy, and also contrary to what people think.
It has to shake the room, because if you don't feel it, then it's not hot. When you touch a hot stove, you react. You just touch a stove, it's nothing. If you don't feel it, it's not hot.
Discussions in pro wrestling, and hold calm down, Greg, is the Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart thing, right? And I think niggas are usually, they are, to me, they are the Jay-Z and Nas of wrestling, because you're normally one of the two guys. You either Shawn Michaels guy or you're what's the other guy? A Bret Hart guy. And I think the out of that argument comes a lot of hot takes. As a matter of fact, shout out to Brother Math. Brother Math has been coming up with some hot takes about how Shawn Michaels is trash, which is a very interesting argument. Shout out to that nigga. He should be here instead of me. But who wants to set it off, man? Who's got that hot take that they feel like they want to just go ahead and drop in the chat and rock the room early?
So this is one that I don't think is that hot.
Okay.
But I'm gonna start it off with this one. And Sting should not wrestle again. I know people are looking forward to it, but Sting should stay where he's at. And even the managerial role I don't think is enough, because Darby Allin doesn't need a manager. Darby Allin didn't need Sting. Darby Allin, I don't think, benefits much from this association with Sting. I think Sting gets all the benefit from being around all these people, and he is somebody that can do nothing with it, because the bell should never ring on a Sting match ever again. He's done.
So, I agree with your initial take, but then when you broke it down, I was like, nope. This nigga's bugging. Like, so no. I agree. I'm cool on another Sting match.
Yeah.
I do think there is something to be gained from a Darby Allin association with Sting. Because who is Darby Allin? Like, all right, we know he jumps off stuff, and they got him to keep getting him in the ring with these big guys, and he has to do insane things to either just get over, as far as, he had a good match, or to win a match, doing all kinds of wild stunts. He has more stunt matches than wrestling matches. Mm-hmm. They may need to start pairing that guy with some smaller guys, but Sting helps him, because what's your favorite Darby Allin promo?
Here's the thing about that. Here's why I say he doesn't need Sting. The appeal of Darby Allin is that he's a loner, right? What do people say was the worst era of Stone Cold Steve Austin? When they made him heel and put him with Vince McMahon. When they put him with somebody. He's the ultimate loner. He didn't need nobody. He just needed to do what he had to do, get in, get out, and go to work. And Darby Allin, I'm not saying that he is Stone Cold, but when you have any loner character and you pair them with somebody, especially somebody like Sting, where, listen, he can't wrestle another match. He cannot do it. He cannot wrestle another match. There's not much to be gained for anybody but Sting, and this boosting his legacy a little bit more. You're taking away from Darby Allin. I'm sure Darby Allin loves it. He's a fan of Sting, who wouldn't want to be in there with one of their heroes working in any capacity. But Sting needed like a backstage producer role or something like that.
I kind of agree with fam. I see there is to me, I think there is a spot for him to help out someone like a Darby Allin. It's just I wouldn't mind seeing Sting wrestle again, but once again, he have him give back to the younger talent as well. Don't just have him pull like a Goldberg or somebody and you just hot shot him in and he takes the title or something and just all for self. If he can give back something to a Darby Allin, who's one of the bright upstarts of the AEW, one of the guys y'all looking to push forward and have the future around him, then why not? I think that can help him out a lot. Like the fam said, with who is Darby Allin? Help the viewer, help us know, give us more information about Darby and his character and stuff.
So Sting could help out a lot, but I think that helping out doesn't have to be being on TV. He could help out a lot backstage. He could help out a whole lot backstage. And even Sting having another match to put over the younger talent. The last time he did that, he crumpled in the center of the ring, crumpled,
literally.
Yeah, but it was
he crumpled in the center of the ring the last time he did that. So for him to even take the risk,
he crumpled to a known crumpler though. It wasn't. He ain't the only. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to John Cena's nose. I mean, he isn't the only nigga that got killed by the guy that killed him.
But hold on. In Seth's defense, right? Finn stuck his arm back on a back bump. I'm not saying it's Finn's fault. I'm just saying that if anybody naturally is going to try to brace themselves, that's a freak accident. In Seth's defense with John Cena's nose, even Cena will tell you he leaned in a little bit too much on that one. Again, Seth's knee was still in the wrong place at the wrong time, but there was some collaboration in making those freak accidents happen. I mean, Seth even crumpled himself. He tried to lift Kane for a buckle bomb, and his knee wasn't what it was. We're not blaming Kane for that, even though Kane probably was a little bit more physically large than Seth was accustomed to. We're not blaming Kane for that. It's just these things happen, and Sting folding up from a buckle bomb, and I think a clothesline after that. You know, he took that buckle bomb perfectly. It's just that his back couldn't take it as well as the rest of them thought he could take it. And again, if Sting was ready to go, he would have been back already. He was not ready to go ever. They put him right where he needed to be, backstage. His pride couldn't handle it. He could have even helped Darby Allin from backstage, but him being out in the middle of the ring to take another victory lap, I don't think he needs it. And especially when you compare him to Goldberg, at least Goldberg, even though he's been known to concuss himself and then fuck up right when he gets to the big moment, he at least looks the part when it comes to getting that spot in those big moments. True. Sting, we already seen him fold up.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sting ain't in nobody's career. I'm just saying,
except his.
Nah, the pot he cut on the pot is not over. Hey, AEW, how y'all doing?
Yeah, man. I feel like Sting. I feel like another reason why I think like Sting is probably in there. He's doing AEW a favor too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like more eyes gonna tune in into it, and I think that's another reason why Sting is in the ring as well. I'm sure he wants to wrestle still, but like he's helping out AEW as well. I can't really blame him for that, for putting Sting in the ring.
Yeah, but is he doing more? Again, is he doing AEW more of a favor or more himself? Because like when he shows up, and you have Team Taz, like a bunch of muscleheads and ass kickers, and he shows up and he gets within 3 feet of them with his baseball bat, and they don't snatch him up and beat his ass.
Yeah,
he's not doing them any favors.
Yeah,
and
that was bad.
This happens week to week.
Hey, you cared about Taz's Angels before they stepped in the ring with Sting? You cared about Brian Cage? You cared?
I cared about Hobbs.
Another conversation. Cody, what you got on your first hot take, man?
Oh man, let's get into it. Let me bring it up. I kind of wrote a couple down. I got a few of them. All right. So if anyone tuned into the Black Announce Table podcast, this is thing going on for a couple of episodes where I say I think Christian is better than Edge. You know, and I just
stop.
Thank you.
I'm happy because I was gonna ask y'all, how did y'all feel about just that statement alone? Is that like a hot take or lukewarm take, or before I go into detail and explain why?
That's a full take.
Really? Okay.
Christian,
what was that?
Is he finished? Did Christian retire? Is he finished?
Yeah,
I think he is. I think he had like a quiet retirement.
Yeah, he had a quiet retirement. I feel like Christian was more talented than Edge in every way, but Edge just had the look. And if you have the look, you're gonna get more of the opportunities. Vince is on record for hating how Christian looks. Like, period.
Where is this record?
With the blue dot, he wanted to put a blue dot on Christian's face every time he came out to the ring.
I never heard this story. Tell this story.
I don't know all of the story or who gave this, but this is just it's known. Like it's been floating out there for a while. I'm pretty sure one of the former writers or someone confirmed it. But to my point, when Edge and Christian, like who was really cutting the promos? Who's really a better talker between Edge and Christian?
Edge.
Really? Mm-hmm. Really?
I think what happens is if you don't have the look, you don't get the. I think if you don't have the look, you don't have the book. And Edge has definitely been booked better than Christian, no matter how you feel on this subject. But what happens is once you get booked in that position, you start on top, and he had a legit run on top in the WWE. Christian Cage had a legit run on top in TNA wrestling. You can't compare the two. Christian didn't have the same opportunities, but it's kind of like when you have a conversation about these dead rappers where you can say, well, he could have did this, but he didn't. So I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to be able to agree with him.
So, especially as
better.
When you say better in every way. I mean, Edge has some classics. You know what I mean? Edge, for every year that he was at the top, threw in at least a one match of the year contender. You know what I mean? Edge popped up at the Rumble with the actual crowd. This is not a piped in crowd sound. And you heard how it sounded for Edge to come back. Christian made a return to WWE after a long while too. I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about when he actually came back and could wrestle and there was something for him to do. And I don't know that he got that reception. As a tag team, yes, they were great. And listen, I've been known to pick the wrong guy in a tag team too. All right, a time or two. I was Matt over Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? I'm here to admit this. I was wow. Rick over Scott. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Matt over Jeff isn't the wrong choice.
No, but listen, in the annals of wrestling history, it is, because we see what Jeff went on to do and we see what Matt went on to do. I went Rick over Scott. What are my other? Oh my God, I went Marty over Sean. Yeah, you know, so I made some bad choices in picking the one from the tag team, but Edge over Christian, that's the one. Christian over Edge is a Marty over Sean take.
Who's a better wrestler, Christian or Edge?
Edge. And I'll tell you why, right? Edge has wrestled so many different styles with different people and still been able to put on a fuego match that you cannot take that away from him. Whether it's a multi-man match, whether it's with a technical guy, whether it's with a guy like John Cena, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Street Fight, Hardcore, all of that. What hardcore matches does Christian have that could fuck with Edge and McFoley?
Hold on, because that has a lot to do with his dance partner there. But are you saying, when you say who's a better wrestler, you're just saying who's a better like in-ring technician?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying, Cody? So yeah. I can see. I really haven't tried to compare those two. You know what I mean? Kind of give them the eye test, but I think that's only one part of it. Like, I think you're saying who's a better technician doesn't mean that they're a better wrestler. Like, what's the little flippy nigga in New Japan? A little bit Zack Saber Jr., right?
Yeah.
This nigga's an amazing technician, right? I can't say he's a better pro wrestler than The Undertaker. He's had way better performances and matches. He does way better things technically. But when it comes down to it, I would definitely rather watch like Taker and Shawn Mike or like a Taker match, because when you watch Undertaker stuff, you know what I mean, even though he hates niggas, is he gives you the entirety of what pro wrestling is when you're watching Undertaker. Zack Saber Jr. gives you one piece.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that.
So I think even if I could just, let's just say I say Christian is a better in-ring technician, I still have gotten more pro wrestling from Edge than I've gotten from Christian.
And that's not saying Christian's not entertaining either. Like, he's Captain Charisma after all. Let's be honest. But way better than Edge in every way.
That goes back to you getting the ball and you like them actually giving you the ball and you have an opportunity to do way more than your tag team partner, in my opinion.
All right. So my first hot take, I don't know how hot it's going to be, but I know the general consensus is people would call I think McMahon out of touch. Vincent McMahon is the greatest wrestling mind of all time, the greatest wrestling promoter of all time, hands down. And that is my hot take. Gentlemen, would you disagree?
I'm leaning disagree. I feel like the greatest of all time, I want to give the greatest promoter of all time to Paul Heyman, because even though ECW was short-lived, like when it was time for him to like in WCW, right? He was the one who tinkered with the unloved toys, put together the Dangerous Alliance, and these people that he handpicked were quite the squad. You know, Steve Austin, Rick Rude. You know, ECW, he took some of these people who had no business being anywhere near what they were and made you feel like they were the greatest thing on the planet, from a Mikey Whipwreck to a Balls Mahoney to a Mike Awesome. And Vince has many more years on the resume than Paul Heyman. Even like right now, right? People think Paul Heyman is responsible for the Roman stuff and Paul Heyman right and Raw and Paul Heyman what he was able to do with Brock. I think he might be the greatest just in terms of taking a Raw talent and shining up what needs to be shined and hiding what people don't need to see, so that we think that everybody is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Even like a RVD as WWE champion, I don't think that works without Heyman. Vince just has the longevity on him. And Vince, while I won't give him the greatest, I will give him the smartest, because he's able to bring the people around him to get him to where he needs to be, to then take the credit, right? Because even like WrestleMania, every April we look forward to WrestleMania, but Starrcade was first. You know what I mean? Starrcade was the first one of that kind, and nobody even thinks about it like that. Even like Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, those pay-per-views were all set up to compete with Jim Crockett Promotion pay-per-views, like thrown together at the last minute too. Royal Rumble, Pat Patterson came up with. We love it. Survivor Series, we look forward to that every November. It was just set up to compete with Starrcade only. So he's just the smartest guy in the room, and definitely the most cutthroat. But greatest, I don't know if I could give him greatest.
Nah, that's
so my
that's
reply
well
to your argument about Starrcade. My argument to what you said to Starrcade is they made it a hot line. Vince made it a hot song, and was clear from Vince swindling his first nigga, which was Vince. Hey, shut up. Vince swindling his first swindle, which was his pops. You know what I'm saying? The nigga he bought the WWE. You know what I mean, for $1, and then he didn't tell his father. But I'm gonna take this thing national and crush all of your partners. That is the first cutthroat, but first smart move. Everybody else was running regional TV. Everybody was running regional promotions. Vince was like, no, we got cable now, right? So that's first. I don't know if there is a more important or bigger decision in pro wrestling. I think what Vince has done with pay-per-views, from taking it to a yearly to quarterly to monthly, is what everybody else shoots to do. I think Vince has managed to have everything that he ended up competing with end up under his umbrella, including independent wrestling now, which is what NXT is supposed to be. It's Vince has done everything he's the Ray J of wrestling. That nigga hit it first on almost everything.
But
And
see,
if he
this is
didn't
why
hit
I
it first,
say
he hit it better.
this is why I say he's the smartest and not the greatest, though, because like he's getting credit for just being the guy that okays these great ideas, right? Because I mean, let's even look at the monthly pay-per-view thing, right? In Your House was set up to compete with Clash of Champions, right? Clash of Champions became a thing because of WrestleMania 4. They gave it away for free, and then WCW realized that, hey, we got something going with these pay-per-view level events that we're putting up on free TV. WWE didn't catch up with that till In Your House. Like the first Clash of Champions was 88, I want to say 89. The first In Your House was what, like 93, 94?
I think
So
that was the stat.
WWE is behind the ball for like 6 years on those monthly super shows. The only thing they did was they took it to pay-per-view, right? They said, we're done with Saturday night's main events. We're going to do these In Your House joints on pay-per-view. That was the smart move. But saying that they should get credit for like the monthly super shows, again, he's not the greatest, he's not the innovator, but he is the smartest. Because
I think he's not the creator, he's the innovator. I think that's what it is. He makes it work. He says, all right, that's what you want to do. You could dribble between your legs. Nah, this is what you can do. And then I can switch hands. You know what I'm saying? He elevates every idea. So everything that gets run through that machine, and he makes everything better.
If you say he's the greatest business mind in pro wrestling, then yeah, I got to give it to him. Because he like you said, he takes these ideas that were good ideas, but instead of putting as much as people say, like, you know, they rag on sports entertainment, but the entertainment was making the money, not the sport. And he like 3 brands at least. Yeah. You know, international with the NXT UK and probably NXT India. Japan.
And probably India is a thing. Yeah, I think that's already a thing, right? That's where gender is.
Oh, is it? See, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a thing. I heard it was gonna be a thing, but
yeah, I heard they just set up something. They just announced something like Superstar Spectacular or something. They just announced something.
Yeah, they did Superstar Spectacle.
That sounds interesting, and I'm going to keep my raises takes. Never mind. All right, man, we got the next take. I'm about to jump off my usual bridge.
No, hold on. Like before y'all move on about the Vince thing, like I would like I agree with Fam, and I think Paul Heyman is definitely right there. Like he is right there. But like just the fact that another thing that wasn't mentioned is the fact that these superstars that floundered in other companies and they come into where Vince is, and we get a Stone Cold, we get a Mankind. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's just I've seen that happen. Like I've seen these wrestlers on other promotions, and they come in there, and they're like, next thing you know, Austin is the biggest thing in wrestling, and just things like that just adds on to it, in my opinion. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. You just this wasn't a hot take that I had written down, but you stumbled on to one that I've said before. I don't know how people are going to feel about this, but yeah, Vince was right about everyone. You talk about a lot of people who go somewhere else and they say like, I was misused in WWE, and then they get the opportunity somewhere else and they hit, with me at least, they hit the exact level where they were in WWE. Like Moxley, I really fucked with Moxley. He was a main eventer in AEW. He was a main eventer in WWE. Miro, as much as people want to say this is what he could do and this is what he could be, I see him hitting the exact. Even if they give him that AEW championship, he's not gonna rise to the level of like elite all-time talent that we wanted him to be as fans. But he's going to be right where they set him at WWE. And even like you mentioned, you know, Stone Cold and Mick Foley and these guys who came from other promotions like AJ Styles, right? He was internationally at the top. He was all over the world at the top everywhere he went, and he came to WWE and he made it to the top, which sort of goes against the argument that Vince McMahon buries everybody because he couldn't bury AJ Styles. Goldberg went on a streak in WCW, ran through everybody, came to WWE, And still, the list of men who beat Goldberg one-on-one is 7 people. It was 5 from WCW. It's 7 in WWE.
One of them is The Fiend.
Vince is getting The Fiend right. I hate to tell you this. The Fiend is a character. We want him to be like the Fiend is a character, and that character. I mean, even listen, the overall presentation. There's some shaky things that are happening as they happen in front of our face. But again, I think when it's all said and done, the Fiend is going to be one of those characters that they get right. Because even with the Undertaker, right, there was some hokey stuff that happened with the Undertaker, but 30 years later, we're just revere this man. And seeing Bray Wyatt go from
used to revere this man,
cult leader, used to see him go from cult leader to a loner without a cult that's still trying to pass these messages to a fiendish madman. I think when they get to where Bray Wyatt is going, he's going to be up there as one of those mind-blowing characters. But yeah, WWE and Vince, they get everybody right. We might not see it at the time, but when you're able to step away from it and view these people with fresh eyes, they get everybody right.
I think it's kind of one of my hot takes is that and it rolls into this is that WWE didn't botch Rusev the way they botched the breakup of the Shield. That could have been the best thing in professional wrestling. They had opportunities to do right by the Shield as solo members a great deal of times. But they had help botching with Seth and his Twitter antics. But I think Ambrose, they completely lost. He was the guy at the beginning of the Shield, and they were never able to get that first iteration of Dean Ambrose solo. So for the most part, they usually do get it right, but there are a couple times where it was they fumbled the ball.
Yeah, but they still had him in the main event though. They didn't present him perfectly, but they said they even in not presenting him perfectly, they said this is a main event guy. And y'all not gonna do this to me, okay? Because when they were doing that with Dean Ambrose, I was in the minority of people who were like, yo, I rock with Dean Ambrose. I saw the tweets that I was getting for loving Dean Ambrose. And then as soon as he crossed the street, and I said, listen, this is the same guy that he was in WWE. People are like, no, but we love this guy. And listen, I like Moxley too.
The same
but y'all
guy?
not gonna do this to me. Yeah, he is. He is the same
I don't
guy.
like Moxley.
Okay, but see, I appreciate you for keeping the energy because he's the same guy on the other side of the street. He's just allowed to curse, but he's still doing hokey stuff. He's not deranged. He's not crazy deranged where you fear for him, doing something psychotic, which is why I think how they botched his presentation in WWE. He never became a psycho that you was afraid was going to do something off the rails. He was just
I think they went too far. I thought it should have been less of a gimmick with Ambrose, because that's how he started. He started as a guy. He come in with his little promos and they got the dope camera that's looking up at him and they looking down at it, and he's doing all the promos for the Shield at the beginning, and then at the end you get your man's Thunderdome Roll, bleed that and all that. But they were never able to capture what they had with Ambrose. So I think they had him on the right path, and they put him kind of in the main event, but it was the secondary main event, not the main. We all know the secondary main is the
he had the WWE title though.
That was the one.
He had the WWE title, the one that Buddy Rogers held. He had the company title, they've
switched on and off with which one is the 1A, 1 belt and B belt. And at the time he had it, there was who was the other champion?
Brock probably.
No, I don't think there was a universal. I don't think there was a universal champion when he had the WWE championship. This was right when SmackDown. It might have been Finn or KO or something like that.
Nah, they did the brand split, so it was
They did the
But
brand
it probably
split.
was Finn or KO. You're right. Yeah,
They did the brand split, and then but he won
Finn
it.
was the first
When
champ.
he won it, he was like the one world champion. Like that was it. So it was either Finn or KO that had the other one. And at that point, it's not WWE say it. It's like the man making the title at that point. But it wasn't for lack of opportunity. And again, they told you that this guy was the main event guy. Like his list of accolades almost mirrors Roman and Seth's. They have Rumbles, but Roman doesn't have Money in the Bank. He got Money in the Bank. You know what I mean? None of them have a King of the Ring, but they all got a Grand Slam. They did it together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Seth's the only one who had a tag team partner that wasn't a Shield member. And even with the Shield, like what I like that they did with them is they didn't really have a leader. They went through periods where like Roman was the leader, and then Ambrose was the leader, and then towards the end, they were like, yo, Seth was the one who put this all together. Seth was the architect, Seth's the leader, but they didn't really have a leader. They were three equals the whole way. And as good as Roman and Seth were solo, they never failed to remind you that Dean was their equal.
Yeah, because I remember like when they first broke up, like people like not even like when they first like before they broke up, people was thinking Rollins was gonna be the odd man out because we knew what Roman is looked at towards Vince, and people know how talented Ambrose was and had the momentum he's going his character. Yeah. People were saying like Seth gonna be the main one out, and now when you look at things now, it's like, you know what I'm saying, Seth made out great for himself.
Yeah, it was like they thought that Ambrose was gonna be the one to go heel and like break up the Shield, dude.
Yeah.
So what you got next on deck, Cody?
Oh man. All right. This one. This is another one that was talked about in the early 2000s. Triple H's Reign of Terror on Monday Night Raw. A lot of people hate it, but I'm gonna tell you, this was actually good. Triple H's Reign of Terror was good, and I'm gonna tell you why. He made the title seem important. One of the best groups ever came from it. Created 2 certified main eventers, even though I still think they kind of fucked up the Randy Orton turning on thing. Like he turned it on Triple H and everything. They did that too soon, but I think that was done to get the.
You said Randy Orton turned?
I mean, no.
You definitely bought into the Reign of Terror. How dare he win the world championship?
But I think they just did that. They hot shotted it to get the youngest world champion off of Brock, and I guess Vince wasn't feeling Brock at the time and everything. He left on bad terms or whatever. We got the last Shawn Michaels world title reign from there. We got Kane unmasking because of it. We got the Katie Vick storyline because of it. I mean, and he
use that as a plus. That's a plus.
Yeah, that's definitely it's definitely highs and lows. That's definitely a low. We got WrestleMania 19 because of it. Booker T.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it wasn't good. I'm just saying the terror was too terrifying at some points.
I think the worst part of the whole thing was like him coming out and cutting these same promos every week. But like, and otherwise, I don't think the Reign of Terror was that bad. I really don't. I think it was good. I really think it was good television.
So I think that's the part. I think that was good television. We all watched, and the problem becomes, in retrospect, like, oh, he only gets this because of that. Okay, that's fine, but we got TV.
Yeah, and he had to perform at that level too. Like that's the thing. Even if they put him in the spot because of whatever reasons, he had to still perform at that level, and he did. And I'll agree with that. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'll agree with it that his Reign of Terror not only wasn't that good, but then when you look at like the people that he ran through and then what they went on, like you said he created 2 bona fide main eventers with Evolution, right?
Yeah.
But then also, Booker T being in the main event with Triple H, I don't think that if he handled that, if he didn't win the championship then, him losing proved something. to allow him to become King Booker and be in the main event. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many guys who Chris Jericho. He beat Triple H. Triple H snatched up the ref, made them reverse it, completely undo it, and then who ends up being the first undisputed champion? Chris Jericho. Like, just that reign of terror. He didn't bury guys like we thought they were buried. It didn't feel good at the time, but if you watch their trajectory after that, like, he definitely pulled more guys up into that main event scene. Like, and I'll say like second level main event, because at the end of the day, like, Rock and Austin was right there, number one. Like, nobody was getting to that level. Yeah. But like that secondary level of guys who could go and deserve the run at the top, he brought them all up there.
And Chris Benoit, when he put him over at Mania, the things he did for Batista ain't having Batista beat Triple H every time until like recently they fought at Mania in the past couple of years. So he got him over, and it's just like no matter like the. Go ahead, fam.
No. I was just quoting Batista. Give it to me. Give it what I want.
Yeah, and it's like it wasn't that bad as people try to make it out to be. It wasn't that bad at all.
Absolutely. All right. In the year 2021 of our Lord, the year of our Lord, Charlotte Flair does nothing for my television in 2021 that I need her to do. She does not help WWE TV in 2021.
Wow. This is what we're doing.
Brother fam just laid down the law right now. And to see, this is oh man, I'm about to shed a tear right now. Ooh, I gotta pull up for this one.
All right, thank you. She does not need to be near any of maybe the tag team belts is cool with her. She's not needed in the title scene for either championship. She isn't. Who is she elevating now? Like the way she's being used as she's come back. I mean, she's been gone a great deal and a great deal of.
She's been back for 3 weeks,
right? And arguably the top 3 professional wrestlers of 2020 are women. Sasha, Bayley, and Asuka carried the TV during the pandemic. That being said, that would not have happened had Charlotte Flair been around. Char is a booking black hole. If she's active, Vince is like, get her on my TV. She's blonde and she's okay looking in the face. I mean, but she's like, get her on my TV. And let's keep it a buck. She's a great in-ring technician. I don't like her promos, but she's Ric Flair's daughter, and they come as a package deal. So niggas will be like, all right, well, if we get you back around, Rick's back around, and she came back. What do we got? Her and Lacey. You know what? Keep them for the rest of the year together. Keep Charlotte away from any of the championships. You know what I'm saying? Keep her off my TV. I don't want to see it.
I mean, hold on. How often is Rick actually around Charlotte? First of all, two things I gotta before you even answer that. First of all, Rick is Charlotte's father now. She is not Ric Flair's daughter anymore.
Cut that out.
Oh,
that is only to WWE current fans. The large majority of people.
Rick is Charlotte's father now.
If you go outside to somebody that doesn't watch pro wrestling currently and be Rick like, yo,
Charlotte's father.
That is insane. That is a word that you love.
It's like Nas said, I used to be Olu's son. Now he's Nas' father. Rick is Charlotte's father. Let's get that right now. He needs her. Like no current talent needs Rick to get on TV. When Charlotte was gone, it was Randy Orton. Nobody said, "Oh, Randy Orton's because was in Evolution. He needs Rick to get on TV." No, Rick likes the spotlight. Rick has basically family in that company, so Rick goes to be with his family. I don't think any of them are calling him up and saying, "Dad, we need you to be on TV." Charlotte, like you said, would be just fine without Rick because of and we know this because of all the years that Charlotte was just fine without Rick by her side on TV.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Her and Lacey is just as entertaining or interesting without Rick?
It's a completely different story. So how am I supposed to answer that question? The story is Lacey being a temptress to her pops. You take away Rick, you got a completely different story.
That was out of a botch too. That's out of a botch, by the way.
With what story would it be Lacey and Charlotte then? Book the story and I'll tell you it's as entertaining. Come on, give it some effort. Give it some effort. Don't just say it would just be Lacey.
You want me to give you an effort on a storyline with Lacey Evans in it?
Give me
Let's
some
keep
effort.
it a buck. It's Lacey Evans. Huh? What?
No, carry on. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Here's why. And this hot take is gonna lead. Your hot take is gonna lead me into my other hot take. But let's just go with this for a second. Let's keep it right here. Charlotte already broke this down in a series of tweets. Charlotte is there to make stars. Period. Right? Period. Sasha Banks and Charlotte trading the title for a year made fans want so much more for Sasha Banks than we would have wanted if they just gave her the championship. Right.
Because she never defended the belt successfully while Charlotte was there.
Right. So that's Sasha Banks, right?
Okay.
Charlotte comes back for her championship at SummerSlam a couple of years ago, wins a triple threat match, and who becomes the hottest thing out of that triple threat match? Becky Lynch. That's 2. Bayley.
That doesn't happen without Nia Jax.
No. Becky was already the man going into Survivor Series. Becky was already the man.
She don't get her name smashed, her nose smashed all about her face. That gimmick never gets over the way it did.
Yes, it does. It was already over. It was already over. It was already set in stone. It was already over. People were already looking forward to Becky Ronda with the rematch happening at WrestleMania. It was done. Nia Jax helped it out. Nia Jax put it on ice, let it preserve itself well.
Nia Jax, Seth Rollins there.
Nia Jax helped it age like a fine wine, but her and Charlotte is what made it happen. Becky turned heel, and because it was Charlotte, the fans got behind it to the point where Becky is still the hottest thing. That's 2 right there, right? Then you got Bayley. Bayley cashes in her Money in the Bank briefcase on who? Charlotte. Charlotte months later comes back, beats Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, holds it for 5 days. Bayley wins it back, and then Bayley is the hottest thing. Now Bayley has the championship for 500 days. When you combine them, you take away Charlotte's little 5-day run. 500 out of 505 days is Bayley. The first run is so because, she's still doing the perennial babyface thing. But the second run is like you said yourself, the hottest act on TV was a woman. It was Bayley, your SmackDown Women's Championship. And that's before we even get into Asuka and Charlotte breaking her undefeated streak and galvanizing the fans behind Asuka to the point where
the booking galvanized the fans.
It was Charlotte. It was Charlotte. And even with the WrestleMania, right? The WrestleMania first women's main event, that match is not as big if they don't drop Charlotte into it and make it a winner take all with the SmackDown Women's Championship. That becomes the biggest match that it could possibly. That's the first thing I agree with. That becomes the biggest match. That becomes the biggest match that it could possibly be when you take the SmackDown Women's Championship, you put it on Charlotte, and then you put her in that match. So to say that
Nobody wanted Charlotte in the match.
To say that wrestling does not need Charlotte in the year of our Lord 2021 when she is just getting started is absurd, because when you look back at everything that she did when she was revving up and all the stars that she made, yes, she probably got in the door because she was Ric Flair's daughter. But what she did in the room, she hung up some plaques. She bought a nice couch. She set a rug down. The way she decorated the room, you're going to give her respect. You have to. She got in the door as Ric Flair's daughter, but her interior decoration is just it's impeccable. It's flawless. What are you talking about?
I have one person that will disagree with your whole Charlotte is here to make superstars. And I'm pretty sure if I could check my phone and get her on the line, she would tell you her name is Rhea Ripley. Because what happened with that? Like she beat Rhea, and Rhea ain't looked the same since.
That's on Rhea. That's on Rhea. She beat Rhea, and Rhea didn't look the same since because Rhea was so disheartened by the loss. And I'm glad you mentioned that because that leads me into my next hot take.
Before you get to that hot take, I gotta say, all right, two things really quick. Pam. What's Pam? Pam the
Bailey.
Beard. What's Bailey? Yeah, that's it. Pam the Beard. Bailey is the best pro wrestler this past year because of her heel turn and her work and everything she's done away from Charlotte Flair.
I can't give Charlotte no credit for that. Sorry.
Nah, not at all.
Charlotte gets no credit for that, man.
Sasha is because of the stuff she's done with Bailey her whole run, and because of her in-ring. Let's keep it a buck.
I have a hot take on Sasha too, but go ahead.
Asuka carried the company in Charlotte's absence.
She carried the company when?
The beginning of the year, the pandemic, son. The TV.
Panorama.
I'm going to tell you.
When Bailey and Sasha
yes.
She carried the company when Bailey and Sasha was doing all the work on all three shows?
Those were the top three workers in the company during the panic was Sasha, Bailey, and Asuka. Asuka was wrestling every week. They were letting her do promos with everybody. She was helping their TV.
Listen, I'm not going to take anything away from them because you're right. They were great TV in 2020. They held it down completely. But I'm also not going to take anything away from Charlotte Flair. And like I said, Cody led me into my other hot take, which is wrestling fans don't understand wrestling. It's just that simple. Mm-hmm. When you mentioned Rhea Ripley, you highlighted it. You didn't just highlight it. You took that hot take, you dipped it in gold, you put a glass case around it, and shined 12 different lights on it for everybody to see. Rhea Ripley had no business beating Charlotte Flair. That's number one. Rhea Ripley was supposed to lose to Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley being in that match wasn't about making Rhea Ripley a star, which it still did, by the way. It still proved that she could go. It had people calling for her to come up to the main roster. Rhea Ripley, that match was about making the NXT Women's Championship on the level with all of the women's championships in WWE. It wasn't about making Rhea Ripley great again. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Because
who's the women's champion now?
Io Shirai. But here's why it was successful. Because when Charlotte carried that championship to NXT, her segments was must see with that NXT Women's Championship. And when Charlotte did her little weekly thing about who's going to beat me for the championship, the women who stepped in with her automatically got elevated from being in the ring with Charlotte. But why I say wrestling fans don't understand wrestling is because we think that the only way to make a star is to give them the win. And we don't understand just how much people get from their losses, which is why I think, I'm sorry, this is a package deal of two hot takes that you're getting right now. Drew needs to lose to Goldberg. If you really want to make him a star, Drew needs to lose to Goldberg. hand him that WWE championship, pad the old man's resume. That's how you make him a star. Roman Reigns should have lost to Kevin Owens at some point. Even if he lost at the pay-per-view and then won it back in the steel cage match. Wins aren't the only way to make a star. You make stars by losing, but that's also on the wrestler, which is why I'm going to circle back to Rhea Ripley. She lost to Charlotte, and she was upset. She had to take a break. She even did an interview where she felt like it broke her a little bit, and that's not how you prove that you belong at the top.
Was that WWE's booking a dig at Ronda Rousey? Because that's what happened to Ronda Rousey in real life.
Possibly, but that's not how you prove that you're there to be a star, right? Because when you look at look at the greats, right? I'll take Hogan out of it, but they all suffered.
You said greats. We don't gotta talk about Hogan.
Yeah, but like Brett, right? He lost at WrestleMania 9 and didn't get his championship back. Shawn Michaels lost at WrestleMania 11 to Diesel, had to win the Royal Rumble again to become a star. Like, these losses make you. You know what I mean? Roman Reigns lost to Brock. Lost to Brock multiple times. I don't think he ever really beat Brock at a WrestleMania. Seth Rollins ended up winning that triple threat match after cashing in, but only after he lost the triple threat match at the Rumble. Got pinned. So, like, these losses are what make you. It's really just that simple.
I'm just waiting on, like, because you said that Charlotte is into making stars. My instant reaction was, all right, if that's the case, then what's good with Rhea? I understand. I understand, but that's where the question came from. Just off
when that responsibility is put on you to handle the loss like you handle the wins, you gotta rise to the occasion. And in this, I'm not going to say Rhea didn't rise to the occasion because she's back and she's still doing great work.
Yeah.
But you don't really expect to be crowned at WrestleMania over Charlotte. Like, this is the same Charlotte who beat Becky and Sasha at WrestleMania to become the first women's champion. This is the same Charlotte that broke Asuka's streak to hold on to a championship. You don't expect to be crowned at WrestleMania while Charlotte's still in her prime, still going.
Yeah, and that goes to my point. Like, of course, I wouldn't give her the win, but like at least have them like at least build to something towards she can look a little better. Like, even on NXT, just have her, if you want to have her lose at Mania, like at least have them going back and forth, like on a pay-per-view on NXT or something. To where,
did you miss the build up to that match though? When she because people forget, Charlotte won the Royal Rumble and was like, which championship am I going to go after? And Rhea challenged her. Rhea stepped up and challenged Charlotte. Rhea made the NXT championship a thing. And then Rhea popped Charlotte in the mouth. And then they were going back and forth on NXT. People forget, like, who was getting her ass beat? Was it Bianca Belair?
Yeah.
Her ass beat? And then Charlotte. And then Rhea stopped, did her entrance, and then came after Charlotte. It's like... They were going back and forth, and she was getting the better best
business. Bianca did the best business in that deal. She came in, and she wasn't even supposed to be part of it, and she came in and she injected herself. That I hear and all, nigga, that was fire. That's the only stuff I remember personally.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one taking the ass.
Booking did not do well by Rhea Ripley after all that beef. That's the thing. I
she left.
Think she elevated that title. Huh?
What do you mean booking didn't do her well? She disappeared and then she came back and immediately went right back into the main event scene. Has a bunch of different feuds going. Like, she left. What is booking supposed to do for her? She's left.
None of that caught on after that beef.
She was battling Aaliyah with Robert Stone and all them doing some little fuck shit. I'm like, nah, it was terrible. Her doing some other shit.
They didn't do right by her after that beef. Now Bianca Belair, when you hear her, she's supposed to be bit parts, but every time you see Bianca Belair, you remember her. and she did a good job with that. She went into business for herself, but not too much, and that made it amazing. So I don't know if I don't know. Charlotte didn't give Rhea the rub that she should have, because Rhea's fire came from even before NXT. Before NXT, when she was in NXT UK, that's when she was the hottest thing in one of the hottest things in pro wrestling, is what she did there that got her over here, and they were using her for their TV. That's when that stuff mattered.
No, Charlotte definitely gave Rhea the rub. Even in losing, you can get the rub just by being around the great. Like, it's like I said, it's how you handle once you get that spotlight that proves whether you need to be there or not. Now, hey, maybe she'll find her way to the NXT Championship again, but her sort of being demoralized by the loss, to me, as talented as she is in ring, says that, maybe she's not ready for the main roster and the main stage and like what comes with that, because there's a lot of L's that come with that. Like Asuka, right, had an undefeated streak and then lost to Charlotte and then lost a lot and lost none of her luster because she didn't lose her spirit.
Yeah, she did. She lost her luster. She ended up with them goddamn them whack. First of all, they're a death knell. Them goddamn women's tag team champions. They are a death knell for booking.
They can't be though, because they can't be because they can't be because Becky and Sasha had them, and they had all the gold. And like you said, they were two of the three most entertaining women on the roster. The other one was Asuka, who started the year as a women's tag team champion, one half of the Kabuki Warriors, who were, despite the name and despite the initial association with Paige, they were some of the hottest things of 2019, the Kabuki Warriors, women's tag team champions. So like the women's tag team championship is as much of a bookend black hole as the men's tag team championship, in that you might put it on the set of champions that people aren't really feeling, aka the Iconics / Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler.
That division doesn't have real tag teams, other than maybe. Well, no, they're not together. What real tag team exists in the women's division in WWE?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, no, that is a problem. But that'd have been perfect. That is a problem. Drop. That would have just that been perfect. That is a problem. But to say that the tag team championships don't do anything for anybody, I think I have to vehemently disagree. I think if they had a real division, in as much as they have they need one women's championship just so they can build a proper tag team division and then have proper tag teams go after the tag team titles.
They might need a women's show.
I don't know. I've heard arguments for and against it. It feels too segregation for me.
I would make it a half hour. I would start it in March, Women's History Month. I would make it a half hour every week, and it's just women, all women, everything, refs, announcers, everything. And I would do that because you don't get TV for a storyline with the women's belts. They just never have. Now they ended up in some other stuff. They ended up in the Sasha and Bailey stuff because Sasha and Bailey have always had that, couple energy or whatever. And it's so there's always going to be something there. But the fact is they're never going to dedicate their television to the women's tag team champions. R-Truth and that 24/7 USA belt get more time than what we've gotten with the guy in women's tag. But I'll go to my next hot take because it really has a lot to do with your last one, is that the internet is awful for professional wrestling. The internet from the inception, from when the from back in the 90s, the end of the 90s, where people were figuring out people's real names and booking situations and things going on backstage. It's your start. It's the start of fans. It first is the death of kayfabe. It is the start of fans going into business. It is the start of people hate watching wrestling. It is the start of fans thinking they know better than the actual professional wrestling bookers.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to chalk this one. At least here, this was gonna be a lukewarm take.
It's not that
I 100% agree. I 100% agree as well.
Yeah.
I 100% agree as well. And like, listen, if people feel some type of way and they find themselves tweeting at IlFam79 or at Codie Dre about this, just know that Ask That Guy Greg will be standing with you in this battle because it's 100%, 100% right.
Yeah,
100%. I don't disagree at all.
100%. We got any more thoughts on that? Because like my take kind of piggybacks off the previous. Sasha Banks is having the best run of any female wrestler in the WWE in history right now, match wise.
Oh, okay. That changes it.
Match wise,
I can rock with it match wise.
And it's large. You could say large part because like dancing partners always means a lot, but I think the match with Carmella, the match with Carmella was pretty good in my eyes, and I was like, all right, I think it's time we give Sasha some attention on the matches she's been putting on during this whole run. She's been on a tear, on the lowest of keys. Like if you look at her pay-per-view matches, her TV matches and everything, she is on a tear right now. And I don't think that a lot of people is shining some light on that, and I don't think we've seen this from a female.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm finding it hard to disagree. The only thing that comes to mind is Asuka in NXT. Okay. That's somebody who had like just an incredible, long, sustained run. But yeah, I'm finding it very hard to disagree with this take because even Ronda Rousey, as much as they tried to make her a thing and as quote unquote good as they tried to make her whole thing was boiling down to dance partners, and she has some great dance partners. And Ronda Rousey, sort of, I wouldn't say that she had an incredible run of matches as much as she had like an incredible run with the right dance partners. Because even like a Nikki Bella was able to make Ronda Rousey look like a star. But you're right, with Sasha and that last Carmella match on pay-per-view particularly, it was a lot better than we expected from somebody like a Carmella, and I think that goes in large part to Sasha Banks and just her ability as a dance partner, as a ring general. She definitely is having a good run when you consider the tag matches and even the singles matches and all that she's been able to do. I'm finding it hard to disagree with that take.
Yeah, even like I thought the matches, the Hell in a Cell match with Bayley, one of the best matches of 2020. The string of matches she had with Asuka is just like oh man, that's some of the best. Like that tear they had going on for a while. They was like every pay-per-view, and it was Sasha and Asuka. All of those matches was fire, and then the Carmella match. I just feel like that's not being talked about right now.
Yeah, no, she definitely is on a tear. I find it hard to disagree because, like you said, it's all been so good. And then who do you say? And even if you say another name, it's going to be among the elites anyway. It's probably going to be it's going to be somebody who had matches with Sasha. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's going to be Asuka. It's going to be maybe Bayley. You know what I mean? It's going to be people who interacted with Sasha. So you could switch those names around, but Sasha's going to be in the mix.
So, all right. There are certain hot takes or topics that are associated to both you gentlemen by your prospective shows. The easiest one to kind of talk about is the AEW thing and brother Codie.
Yeah.
That you and your co-hosts disagree with when it comes to that topic, when it comes to all Aryan elite. I'm sorry.
Yep.
These niggas, man. When it comes to these, I'm saying, why are you supporting them, and what do your co-hosts say you are wrong about?
It's just for me. It's like everything I don't like about everything I don't like or disagree with WWE with, I tune into AEW. You know, and that's all what it is for me. Like, I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling, and we know the tag team division and WWE and how they think about tag team wrestling. But me, I like that. I tune into AEW, and that's the best thing for me. I love the tag team divisions over there. I love all the tag teams over there.
Their best tag team doesn't get a chance to be a tag team. They saddled with what's their names? The butthole circle, the inner circle niggas. You know what I mean? They sat tag team. You know what I mean? Felipe and Ortiz, and I mean, I thought niggas left. But like it could be better. It could be so much better. But you're right. They have a very distinct opportunity. But I honestly don't like where they're going with Mo and Joe Buck. I don't like the Young Bucks. Keep them niggas off my TV too.
Wow. So AEW has a tag team division. AEW has tag teams, but I think, honestly, I don't think there is a promotion, an American wrestler promotion, that's using their tag team division well. AEW has a lot of tag teams, and then they say, look at all the tag teams we have. Here's another 8-man tag match or 16-man tag match, or here's a bunch of tag team matches that don't mean really anything, just so you could see everybody. But it doesn't really matter, because even though we have these rankings, the Young Bucks are going to be at the top, and then whoever the Young Bucks want to feud with are going to be the ones who do this dance until we shuffle the tag team titles around somebody else who could compete with people in the elite. Because first it was Hangman Page and Kenny Omega holding the belts hostage, I would say, while you had real tag teams who couldn't even get close to even being believable as tag team contenders. So what's the point of having it's just as useless to have a tag team division with 16 tag teams if none of them are even believable as sniffing the top prize, as it is of having a tag team division of this guy and that guy who have nothing to do, who are going to go after the tag team titles just because they need another notch in their belt. So they have
AEW has the best tag teams. They've got the best tag teams, not like the best division of tag teams, but they have the worst name.
Yeah,
they have the best collection of
tag teams.
Yes, they have the best collection of tag teams. I don't think they have the best tag team. I still think I don't know if there's a better tag team in the world than. Well, I guess they're not. They're not tag teaming right now, and they haven't much this year. But the Usos,
yeah, they were active last year though. And I mean, listen, when the Usos are hot, there's no team fucking with the Usos.
No, for sure. I just feel like all of my matches, I did the matches of the year, and all of my matches from AEW were tag team matches. It's just like that's the reason why I'm so big. I'm tuned in. It's just like I could tune into AEW, and I'm for sure gonna get a great tag team match, and that's why I'm like, yo, just don't shit on this. I know we like to shit on certain things, but like, yo, give this a chance. And then on the show, it's just like me, Eve, and Chris. We just go back at it.
Oh, you don't think you can get a great tag team match on the other side? Like the Hurt Business and the New Day didn't give you a string of great tag team matches to close out last year, right after the New Day and the Street Profits.
They did, but those matches wasn't better than the matches I seen on AEW. I'm not gonna hold you. Okay. And some of the matches, like I have some of the tag team matches I have in my like top 10 matches of the year. I have a couple of those tag team matches in there, surprisingly. But don't get me wrong, I'm not just shitting on It may sound like I am, but no, it's you could definitely get, like, you could put the New Day in there. The New Day is great. The New Day is Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander. These are great performers, but them getting
I
the
kind of think.
opportunity. Go ahead, fam.
I'm sorry, really quick. I kind of think there are 3 to 4 tag teams that could go to AEW from WWE and run on top. Like, I think there's at least 3 to 4. I think
from AEW to WWE.
No, from WWE to AEW that can rock.
Okay.
They would be the best tag team because while the divisions aren't as good, the tag teams at the top in WWE are, but the division as a whole has not been booked because they just haven't been. They haven't been booking as well as AEW. So yeah, they're definitely better booked.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So, and I mean, like, of course, if they go over there, they'll get a run at the top because we saw what happened with the Revival. They went over there and got immediately was at the top. Exactly.
Hey, I think they have the perfect team for how I feel about them niggas. They have the perfect name. Bret Hitman Hart, right? Is the supposed to be there or is it just Bret Hitman? I don't care, right? So
it's
look,
Bret Hitman.
All right, so Bret Hitman Hart, in your opinion, brother Greg, is the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Is that a fair assessment?
That is accurate.
Where do you rate
the best to ever do it, ever?
Where do you rate Shawn Michaels?
Shawn Michaels solid top 25. You know what I'm saying?
God damn.
Top 25. Solid top 25.
God damn.
Solid top 25.
Damn, you dead serious?
This thing is Funk Master Flex at this point.
He could be 11. I didn't
right
say
above Mace. Right above Mace.
I didn't say he was in the top 25.
But you went to top 25. Saying he's top 25 sounds like he's not top 20. Saying he's top 25 sounds like he's definitely not top 10.
Aren't we here to be inflammatory? I was told we weren't here to sing Kumbaya and hold hands. I was told we was here to shake
absolutely not. No. I want listen. Everything here needs to be a shoot because we are the people. From our perspective podcast, we are the people that the world trusts.
Yeah. But yeah,
like
solid.
Niggas be like, okay, I might not know what he's talking about. He means it though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's who we are, in my opinion. We are the niggas that will jump out the bridge. Like, I don't care what niggas think of my. I say that. These niggas. I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That being said, Shawn Michaels, a top 25 wrestler, might be the most disrespectful thing I've heard all day.
That's the hottest take right there.
And I've been listening to Corey Holcomb.
Listen, Bret Hart is also a top 25. He happens to be number 1, but he's in the top 25.
But the relationship of the two. So let's because we always, when you are questioned and pressed about this topic, always are able to kind of articulate. We know, you know what I mean, who Stat Guy Greg is, you know what I mean, when he getting in his Greg Hyde attorney at law bag, right? So
yeah, he put the cape on.
But the other niggas is usually either Nas niggas or Jay niggas, Shawn Michaels niggas or Brett niggas, and you are not a Shawn guy. What does Shawn not do that keeps him out of your wrestling mount more?
So Shawn, here's the thing, right? Brett is just simply a master. He just simply is. And Shawn, great in ring, but I said this before, right? I remember when the Rockers came through. I remember Shawn Michaels being in the Rockers, right? I lived through the barbershop window, sexy boy era Shawn. I watched him leave. I watched him come back. And in that time that he came back to when he retired, he was great. He was absolutely great. But the time prior simply brings down his average way too much. He was not one of the Rockers are not an iconic tag team. They simply were not. They were good. They were, again, a part of this WWE tag team division that had everybody. They had the Killer Bees, Strike Force, the Brainbusters, the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldog. In the 80s, they had everybody, and the Rockers came in at the tail end of that. So they were there, and they get mentioned among some of these tag teams that were actually great, but they were just the Rockers. Then he gets broken up from Marty Jannetty. He's with Diesel and all that, and he was really just Shawn Michaels. Even when he had the championship for that year when Bret was gone, I mean, you know what it was. Like, even in 97 when Bret was back and doing his best work, and he could have proved that he was his equal, he took his ball and went home. He let Stone Cold slide into the spot, came back, pushed Stone Cold back into the Intercontinental level to where Stone Cold could not be denied, and then had to take that world championship from him because he couldn't handle the pressure of being next to the Hitman. Now, again, when he came back in 2002 and the lane was clear and Austin was gone.
That's why. And
When
Rock,
the
so
lane
Bret
was
Hart is stronger
clear.
than cocaine.
Bret Hart is stronger than cocaine. Exactly.
Bret Hart is stronger than cocaine is the name of the episode.
But even like Shawn, I think Shawn's work gets overstated though. Like when they talk about like how great he was in the 90s and how great DX was, like DX wasn't iconic when it was Triple H and Shawn. DX was iconic when it was Triple H and X-Pac and the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. That was the DX that had everybody crotch chopping in school and getting detention talking about suck it. It wasn't Shawn. It was Triple H's DX that was like the iconic thing. Shawn just benefited from being around people who was actually great. And then he thought it was him, but he was just around the greats. And then even when he came back, like I said, Austin was gone, Rock was gone, Brock was gone. You know what I mean? Triple H was still there to boost up his best friend. Cena was coming up, but Cena wasn't like God Cena just yet. He was right there, but he wasn't God Cena just yet. But I mean, all the guys who Shawn couldn't. Cena is underrated, but all the guys who Shawn really couldn't stand next to weren't there for him to have to stand next to. And then, of course, like, when it's big fish, small pond, like he looks like the thing, but around his peers and like the guy, like he couldn't hang. Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. Yeah.
He couldn't hang.
Yo, Greg
He said that like he couldn't hang.
He couldn't.
Wow.
He ran from the grind, as people would say.
Oh my
Greg
God, Paul George though.
He ran from the grind. He lost He lost his smile. He forfeited almost every title that he had.
Legend.
Like, come on.
That's what adds to it for me for Shawn. It's like, 'cause, I mean, he wasn't losing to nobody. Like, nah, I just walk out. Yeah, I just. Shawn is, Shawn was.
I know
just
way better to get into this argument with there's no end to this argument, right? The Bret Shawn thing, there's no end to it. I just don't. Yeah. The one thing that I always say about Bret niggas is Bret niggas always find a way to not only put Bret at the top, which is time being wrong, but second is they slander Shawn Michaels and put that nigga under the top.
Yep.
20, he top 25. This is where you already showed yourself. This is where you already showed all your we playing Uno, you try to play a diamond. Like, listen,
exactly.
I understand that you have a preference, but calling Shawn Michaels bad cancels your credibility. In my very,
You know what that mean?
Not
You know what
so
that mean? We got to
humble
start the T-shirts with the with the shirt of Greg face with the X on them, like y'all do. We got to put this. We got to put one on Greg right now because it cancels the credibility. It cancels all of that.
Listen,
That's the new shirt right there.
Brett is the best to ever do it. And listen, I listen. Top 25 might sound like slander to you, but of all the thousands of people to have ever wrestled, I think 25 out of 200,000 or whatever the number
there are not
is.
10 people. There are not 10 professional wrestlers better than Shawn Michaels. There aren't. There are not 10 professional wrestlers.
In the history of, yes, because here's the thing. Shawn is not a great pro wrestler. Shawn is a great performer. He's not a great pro wrestler.
Look, man, hold on. Hold up.
And
Wait,
even
nah.
It's
Greg.
It's late run Shawn Michaels that is
Greg.
the great.
Stop.
I'm not gonna hold you, Greg. This whole episode, you've been getting some wild shit off right now, but I gotta stop you there. I have to stop you there.
Let's do this one more time.
Okay.
What is pro wrestling? A simulated combat performed in a way that makes you believe that what you are seeing is real. Nobody did that. Nobody did that better than Brett. That is the whole thing.
That is not the whole thing.
That is the whole thing.
Because I didn't hear anything about storylines or promos in your description.
And nobody, but that goes to the presentation.
You don't want to talk about that.
No, that goes to the presentation. It's presented in a way that makes you feel like it's real. That is the whole thing. That's the storylines. That's the promos. That's the combat. That is the whole thing. Taking the whole package and presenting it to the audience in a way that makes you feel like it's real and bringing you in. Nobody did that better than Bret Hart. Not on the mic, not in the ring. Nobody did that better than Bret Hart. And then Shawn Michaels, why I say he's a good performer is because
he was cool.
He needed to kill kayfabe, to lean into the hokiness of it, to like get his performance off.
Who needed to kill kayfabe?
Shawn.
Brett killed kayfabe wrestling with shadows.
No, Shawn killed kayfabe in Madison Square Garden in 1995, 96, when he hugged. When he hugged Kevin Nash.
It was a house show. It was a house show.
Video leak.
He didn't do that on TV.
Video leak.
He didn't do that on TV.
Video.
Hold on. Whole movie.
Hold on.
Yo,
You say it was so inconsequential. You say it was a house show. If it meant nothing, then why did Triple H go get buried? Why did Triple H take the fall for it?
Because they wasn't going to do nothing to Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels is the top 5 wrestler of all time.
All time. You can't do that.
They shouldn't have done if it was so inconsequential, they shouldn't have done anything to anybody.
No, they did it because the boys in the back were pissed. That's why they punished the boys in the back weren't pissed about a guy that comes in and then buries people and then drops the title to no one to just like throw it into a tournament or whatever. Like he's devaluing belts left and right. The boys in the back aren't pissed about that? No. The boys in the back would have revolted. And speaking of caring about the boys in the back, if a nigga would have cared about the boys in the back, dropped the title if he was leaving the way he was supposed to and the way he was told instead of trying to go into business for himself. However,
let's talk about that. When you have a contract, right? What is the point of having a contract if you're not allowed to exercise the options in the contract? When you have something that says creative control for the last 30 days, why is anybody being demonized for exercise? Why isn't the guy who broke the contract the villain? How's that even work in your mind? That the guy who broke the contract is not the villain. The contract that he wrote, by the way, the contract that he broke 19 years early, how is that guy not the bad guy? How is the guy who's exercising a clause?
Are you hold on. Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
In his contract, not the bad guy.
Let's be clear. Two bad guys can have a contract between each other.
So hold on. So let me ask you this, fam. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
You have a job, right? You got a contract.
Okay.
You negotiate in your contract. For my last 20 days, I want a car service home, right? For my last 20 days.
Mm-hmm.
My last month, let's make it your last month, right? So the month starts, and then they give you your car service, and then like a week into it, your boss is like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. You have 3 weeks left on your contract, because that's how much time was left on Brett's WWE contract. 3 weeks, right? You have 3 weeks left on your contract. Your boss is like, I want you to walk home and then don't even come back. Are you the bad guy in that scenario?
In that situation, no. However,
you did. No. Are you the bad guy because you demand to exercise your car service and take your car service home?
In that situation,
now so Brett electing to exercise his creative control doesn't make him the bad guy. Number one. Number two, he had 3 weeks left on his contract. Mm-hmm. He offered to drop it on Monday Night Raw. He offered to do it at any point later to Sean or anybody.
He wasn't dropping it to Sean. He said he wasn't doing it to Sean because Sean said, I wouldn't do the same for you.
No, he said he wasn't doing it to Sean at Survivor Series. After Survivor Series, if he won, he was willing to do it to Sean or anybody else.
On Raw too?
On Raw.
He's told a couple different stories then. If that's the case, he's told a different couple stories because he also said that he wasn't going to drop the belt to Sean because Sean said because Brent went backstage. He went backstage to Sean and said, "Hey, listen, I respect you, blah blah blah." Right. I want you to. I mean, I just want you to verify what I'm saying. Is he went back there and said, "Look, you know what I'm saying? I blah and you know what I mean. We had our problems, but I had no problem doing the honest to you." And the nigga said, "That's I hear you, but I wouldn't say the same to you." Right. Mm-hmm. That's what Shawn Mike said.
And this is where you lose grasp of the facts, is because Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were booked for Survivor Series, and Bret said, because of that, I am not willing to drop the title to Shawn at Survivor Series. But if Shawn loses,
it was Survivor Series, or because where Survivor Series was?
Because of what Shawn said. So if Shawn was to lose,
why does
if you let me explain, we can get on the same page.
I don't understand why.
If you let me explain, we can get to the same page. If you let me explain, we can get on the same page. If Shawn would have lost to him at Survivor Series, that would have made that statement voided, because Shawn would have done the job. Despite what he said, he would have done the job, proved to him that it really was water under the bridge, and then going forward, Bret would have dropped the title to Shawn or anyone else at any point before his 3 weeks was up. How is he the bad guy when you provide all these alternative solutions to get everybody on the same page and on good terms, and then 3 different knives go into your back on your way out?
3?
Triple H, Shawn. Oh my God!
Hold on, H?
Hebner.
Nah, we're not doing H. We're not giving H that he was there with him, but H ain't do that.
So we put Hebner then for sure. Hebner, Vince, Shawn. At least three. We'll say.
Hebner had no choice. He didn't have a bigger offer coming from WWE for WCW. Hebner didn't have a choice.
Hey, call it what you will. Everybody has a choice.
Vince, yes. Michael Hickenbottom, whatever the nigga name is, yes. Them the two niggas who are culpable in that act.
And again, like I said, if Shawn would have done the job, this whole thing turns out completely differently. It really does. But
Shawn tried to do the job. He came in and made things different. He tried. He tried to do the job.
It was Sean's idea. The screw job was Sean's idea.
Huh?
Actually, it was H. The screw job was H's idea. Sean executed.
Who said that?
Triple H said that. Triple H said that.
Huh? Well, I'm gonna get you to show me where he said that because I didn't know that.
Yeah, Triple H was like, if he won't do business, you got to do business for him, and that's what.
Oh yeah, that sounds like all pro. Hogan said that about Ultimate Warrior too. I'm gonna be honest. This argument could go on forever. I do have one. Before we get out of here, what's one pro wrestling hot take that niggas have? Do niggas have any non-pro wrestling hot takes? I have one that could set this room and tweets and the Discord and everywhere on fire, but I wanted to know if anybody else had one.
I feel like Dave Chappelle says things that sound profound to people who are not using their critical thinking skills, and it sounds profound because he's saying it slow and saying it under the guise of comedy.
Huh. I completely disagree, but there is no way that I could have, like, I can't clip off an argument. I can't think of a Dave Chappelle quote where he did what you said.
Insane.
So like his last SNL monologue, right? He goes off and he's very slow and methodical with it, and people are like, God damn it, Dave did it again. He's a genius. And I'm just like, you know, maybe I shouldn't have been wearing my thinking hat to this, but I didn't hear like genius level intellect or like social commentary. And that's just me. And the same thing with his last recent specials. It's like, but because he said it in his Dave way, people like rocked with it. But again, I think him using comedy as a shield and his slow, methodical voice allowed him to say things that were really stupid if you heard it at the corner store or something like that.
All right, this is what I'll say to rebut. First, I'll say with the SNL thing, I may agree. I didn't think the SNL monologue was groundbreaking, Dave, other than the fact that he said nigga and nigger on NBC several times without any sort of reprimand. Because remember Martin getting in trouble for much less.
They won't even show Martin's monologue.
Right, Martin's was funnier. But to say that Dave does that throughout the majority of his stuff, just recent Dave, just new Dave. But you didn't say that at the beginning.
Just like post Chappelle show Dave, because let's be honest, inherent in that argument is the idea that he's coasting off of that, which is true.
No,
he is absolutely coasting on.
The Netflix specials were all very, very funny. The nigga told a joke backward.
No, I'm not good. I can't go with you there.
No,
I can't go with you there. This is where we must part. This is where we must part.
That's fair, Cody. Do you have a real world hot take?
Oh man, unfortunately, I do not at the moment. Like, once again, I don't even be thinking I'd be having hot takes. I think I just speak. You know, I just speak on how I feel, and like it took me a while to come up with some of these hot takes. I had to sit and think. I'm like, all right, well, let me see what may people not agree with or people may feel the way about, but not really. I really don't. I just see things from my point of view.
I can tell by the emptiness of my wine glass and wine bottle that it's time to drop my favorite hot take. I've said somewhere in recorded history this, but Reasonable Doubt is not a classic. And I will tell niggas that Reasonable Doubt is not a classic for two reasons.
Okay.
Let me start with Reasonable Doubt is a great 4.5 mic album. Okay? But Reasonable Doubt is not a classic because there aren't any other classics in any eras, new stuff, older stuff, that makes the excuse of being lost in the shuffle of a year full of great albums. And 1996 is quite possibly the greatest year in hip hop. You know what I mean? The 88 niggas may disagree, but no other album makes that excuse. And to me, that proves the point that it's not a classic. It is just a really, really good old album.
And I will agree. And to that point, I mean, this is going to circle back to your Brett, Sean, Jay, Nas point, right? Mm-hmm. I love Jay. Jay is quite possibly like my number 2 favorite rapper. It'll fluctuate between him and Big. They'll switch. They'll go back and forth 1 and 2. But Reasonable Doubt, like at the time, it didn't hit the way some of those other albums hit, right? It still got its due as being very good, but it wasn't until Jay retired, and then during his retirement said, look at my old stuff and how great I was, did people go back and look at Rockers era Jay and say, I'm gonna agree with this man, this was pretty good, after he campaigned. Now he came back and like it was undeniable after the comeback, but when he retired and took that break and was like, this album was really good and I love this and this is why everybody should love this too and blah blah blah, and people went back and agreed with him campaigning, it was what made that album be considered like a classic all time that everybody loves. But if he doesn't campaign, it sits right where it was, which is right where it belonged, which is just like a very good album that you could probably still listen to and still enjoy.
Oh, no, just like it's definitely an amazing album.
Yeah, it's just like a very good old album. It wasn't a classic. It wasn't until he went back and said, oh, but you guys didn't get it, that people were like, oh yeah, we didn't get it, versus him just being what it was, just like he didn't do what his peers was able to do.
And like the thing is, like, coming from me, like I was born in 92, so in 96 I wasn't into music and everything like that. But like looking back on everything, my favorite Jay album is Blueprint, the first Blueprint.
The best Jay album.
Yeah, and that's the one I like. That's my favorite Jay album. And looking back on it, and like just from people that I've been around, and they'll tell me like it, like you guys said, it wasn't that album like that, you know, when it first dropped.
It wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? And just like I feel like a lot of people is with that with Jay-Z. Like they'll try to, just because he said it's this, and a lot of people would try to hop on the bandwagon or try to beat it into their head like this is the greatest thing. It's like, nah, like at the time it dropped, like fam said, so many great albums dropped in 96. I remember, I think you posted like the whole list of albums I think that dropped in 96 or around that time or something, and it was just like, yo, this is crazy. And Jay wasn't even like mainstream at the time or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not. It is. Some people would say it's a hot take, but not really. I completely understand.
Yeah, it's just not a hot take in the room. That being said, man, we've taken up a great deal of your time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Bro, let niggas know where they can find social media and on your podcast platforms.
You see the scroll, man. At Stat Guy Greg on Twitter and Instagram. It's down here somewhere.
Codie Dre. Yes, the ad name is at Codie Dre, CODIEDRE, Black and Unstable Podcast. Just type that in. It's right there. You know what I'm saying? Get in contact, listen, all of that. Interact. Yes, sir.
I ain't gonna lie, that's still my favorite name for a podcast. Black and Unstable is a very, very dope name. I ain't gonna lie.
Shout out to Eve.
Yo, IlFam79, social media choice at Black Rasslin. You see it. You know what I mean? At Where's Buffy? You see it on your social media choice, aka Non-Edited Podcast, the aka Captain Bro Albano, Brew Diamond Phillips, Sticky the Dragon Steamboat, Pod Champ Pod God's favorite podcast, the Potty Piper. I'm here to podcast Chew Bubblegum, and I'm all out of Dentine Nights, man. Cactus Jack, the Hennessy volunteer, man. Signing out. Peace.
Hey.
And we